Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and I gotta be honest with you guys, the last couple of weeks have kind of broke me down a little bit because I was excited about a lot of things, about a lot of projects that I wanted to be working on, and a lot of them quite simply did not pan out. I mean, we started this year with the amazingness that is Monster Hunter World, which is my favorite game of all times at this point, pretty much. I really love the game. You guys might be wondering, what about Dark Souls? Thought Dark Souls was your favorite game of all times. Well, it's like the replay value that I got out of Monster Hunter World kind of pushed it over the edge where I kind of like Monster Hunter World more than Dark Souls. It doesn't mean that I don't like Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls still, but I like Monster Hunter World more. And it's like, we've had that. We've also had the remaster of Dark Souls, which is cool. We've had God of War, which is a fantastic fucking game. Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, Octopath Traveler, and there's more. There's games that I'm probably missing at this point. And we've had fantastic games in 2018, right? And I've played a lot of them and had a blast. But during this year's E3, there were a couple of projects that I became increasingly excited for. One of those was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the other one was Fallout 76. And I was really excited about covering those games. And so when we got to Assassin's Creed Odyssey and I started playing it, I was just like, you know, in my opinion, there's a distinct lack of polish there. There's a lot of people that disagree with me on that. And by the way, if you enjoy Assassin's Creed Odyssey, dude, enjoy it in good health, and I hope that you have as much fun as you can possibly get out of that game. Like, the simple fact that I don't enjoy it should not detract from you enjoying it. The thing is, whenever I get on that game, besides the issues that I had with lack of polish, with characters not animating correctly, particularly when I was backstabbing them and they wouldn't even react, and I was just like, what the fuck? And it's just like basic animation not being that great, the horse animation being terrible, and more. There's even more things that I could keep talking about, but I don't want to stress too much about the whole lack of polish thing. But the thing that really broke me down wasn't even that. What broke me down in that game was the in-game store. Because, like, I can't even accept that a game that sells you weapons that give you power. Especially in a single-player game, I kind of don't even see what the point is in playing the game at that point if you're essentially just buying power. That's bullshit. I've kind of been conditioned to accept cosmetics to an extent, so I'm okay with cosmetics, I guess. In an in-game store, I'm just like, whatever, dude, you want to do cosmetics, have at it. I know that probably the best work that you will do in terms of art assets and whatnot's gonna go behind that paywall, but whatever, dude, fucking have at it. Don't even care. I've been conditioned that way at this point. I think most of us have been conditioned to kind of just accept cosmetics in stores. But like, blatant selling of power through weapons, like, it's very hard for me to accept that. But then on top of that, you also put XP boosters and coin doublers, and I can't take the game seriously because I start playing the game and I try to enjoy myself. I go and I don't know, I do some activities, I do some quests, I do whatever. And then the back of my brain starts going, you know, if we had that XP booster, we would have been like 2 levels higher by now, you know? Or if we had that XP booster, we could have bought this better, not the XP, the coin booster, we could have bought this better weapon by now. My brain just starts going like that. It's like, hey, if we bought like a materials bundle pack, we could have upgraded the crap out of our boat. And I can't disconnect it. Maybe that's a problem with me, but I can't disconnect. I cannot disconnect that. Like, it's in the game. And the worst part is that the game itself sends you to these things. Like, I remember the last time that I played was actually on a live stream, and we did this really cool quest where I went up to the top of a cliff, fought this guy who was actually, I'm not going to go into spoilers just in case any of you guys are still haven't played. But basically, we fought this guy on top of a cliff, and I kicked him off the cliff like, yeah, this is Sparta, bitch. Kick him off a cliff like I'm coming off of this really high moment, right? And they're like, okay, now you got to run to your ship. You got to escape. And I'm running back to my ship, and I get to my ship, and we escape, and we're at high sea. And what does the game tell me? The game thinks that this is a good time. Hey, by the way, we're going to give you 200 Helix credits. You should check out the in-game store. And I'm just like, fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you for cheapening this great moment that I was having in your fucking video game, man. Like, legit, it completely broke me down to a point that I was just like, dude, why? It's bad enough that you have that shit and that it exists in your video game, but for you to stop me at that high moment that I was actually immersed and actually enjoying it and reminding me that that garbage exists on your video game is potentially the worst single thing that you could have done. And again, I want to make it perfectly clear. If you're enjoying it, keep enjoying it. Don't let my opinion tarnish the way you feel about it. It's perfectly fine. I understand what people see in the game. I really do. But again, it's just my brain. It can't disconnect from that in-game store. And one of the moments that the game really started working for me and they just completely interrupted that to remind me that there was a store and that I should go check it out. It was too much. So you move from that, and you guys know that I've also been playing World of Warcraft. Pretty much since the latest expansion released, I've been playing World of Warcraft, and I've been enjoying World of Warcraft. A lot of the things in World of Warcraft, I've been enjoying it. So then Blizzard starts talking about, teasing people with a Diablo announcement. And I'm just like, oh, dude, hells yeah. I'm basically starting getting excited about Blizzard games because, I'm playing World of Warcraft. They're probably going to come out with a new Diablo. It's going to be amazing. And I'm like just super hyped. And we all know how that turned out, don't we? We all know how that part turned out. They announced Diablo Immortal, and that just broke me down even further, right? But that's not all, because like I said, I've been playing World of Warcraft in the past couple of weeks. What I've had to do in World of Warcraft in order to actually progress in the game, because you guys know that I play a warrior, protection warrior, which is effectively the worst tank in the game right now. So in order for me to actually, progress throughout the game, in order to play in pugs and stuff, I've been kind of forced to play with a monk, Brewmaster Monk, which is still a really fun class, really fun times. Enjoyed my time greatly playing through dungeons with a Brewmaster Monk. But in the last couple of weeks, I've been like, okay, but now I know all the dungeons. I know how it works. So I can, even playing the worst tank in the game, I could potentially, break through that. So I was getting back on my warrior, trying to level him up and doing the things. And there's this one thing that they did with warriors that is like the most egregious, dumb thing that you could possibly do. So there's gear in the game, as you guys know. And gear, this expansion gives you essentially talents. You can get talents out of gear. But you can't trade it, you can't do anything. It's like just specific sets, specific pieces of gear have specific talents. And warriors, protection warriors, whereas with most classes, like if you have the best talents, you're going to deal a little bit more damage, you're going to have a little bit more survivability, maybe a little bit more ability, maybe a little bit more utility. That's the way it goes, right? You want to get the best so that you have the highest percentage of damage, all of that stuff. Well, protection warriors, and like most other classes, it's kind of like, well, if you don't have this one talent, don't even bother showing up because you're fucking useless. It's literally like that. Like, people will tell you otherwise. I used to believe otherwise. After having tested it, though, no, if you don't have Deafening Crash, which is a talent that comes off of a piece of armor, don't even bother showing up. And in the last couple of weeks, I've had about 8 chances of getting a good piece of gear that could contain that talent. 8 chances. But the problem is, there's no actual way in the game right now to work towards those items that have the talents that you need. So how does that work? It's all RNG. It's literally everything RNG. So in those 8 chances, I was essentially pulling the lever on a slot machine and hoping that I would get this Deafening Crash ability that I really wanted. And I pulled that lever 8 times, and I got useless loot 8 times. You could say that broke me down quite a bit, but on top of all that, Blizzard is doing a really bad job of teaching players how to play the game. Because like the whole Mythic Plus aspect of it, which is one of my favorite things to do, most players, once they get a certain level of gear, they can ignore boss mechanics. They can just flat out ignore boss mechanics and tank/DPS through just about everything, whilst ignoring most of the mechanics. Except one where the affixes comes around, that because Mythic Plus have these modifiers on them, and there's an affix in there that's called Tyrannical. And when the affix Tyrannical comes around, players have to actually do mechanics. And what's been happening to the player base that I've been noticing, because I pug a lot, I play with random players all the time, what I've been noticing is that most people don't know how to play their classes anymore. And whenever Tyrannical comes around, not only they don't know how to play their classes, they also don't know how to do boss mechanics. So basically all they know how to do is Zerg. And that has been making it a terrible experience because players, they don't know how to play the game. They just straight up don't know how to play. Like DPSers don't know how to DPS, healers don't know how to heal. You're like, how do healers not know how to heal? Because they're used to only healing Blood Death Knights and Brewmaster Monks. And anything less than a Blood Death Knight or a Brewmaster Monk, they can't keep them up. They just don't know what the fuck they're doing. I'm talking about a large percentage, not everyone naturally. There's exceptions. There's a couple of really good healers in my guild, and there's a couple of good healers that I've seen throughout some of my runs. But like I would say 90% of healers in the game right now have no fucking idea what they're doing unless they're healing the top tier tanks. And due to the fact that Blizzard has put some pretty challenging affixes over the last 2 weeks, it's just been failed run after failed run because nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. And so, you know, you couple all that together with the fact that I can't get the piece of loot that I need from my warrior. That's also been kind of chipping away at me quite a bit. But then eventually we have the release of Fallout 76, which is a game that I've been super excited about pretty much since E3 because I really liked the features that they were talking about and all this stuff. I understand that Fallout fans, they wanted Fallout 5, not a fucking multiplayer game, and I respect that. I wanted a multiplayer game, to be completely honest. Just not this one, I guess. I've said that I've enjoyed some of the things, and I do. Exploration, the combat, and a couple of other things I do enjoy. But the quests, I've had to basically reroll my character because I fucked up the stats on my first character just as I expected, and doing those quests again, it's too hard. And I don't mean hard as in difficulty, it's like it's too hard to find enjoyment on those quests, and it seems like everywhere you go they give you more of these garbage quests that I don't want to do. And again, it was another game that I was excited for, and that's why I'm saying that the last couple of weeks kind of broke me down quite a few pegs. But I wanted this to have a more positive spin at the end, because I've been wanting to record this video for a while, but I'm like, dude, but is that how I'm going to finish it? Just like this negative rant of things that have been annoying me, that have been gnawing at me? Is that how we're going to finish a video like that? So I've been looking for the next thing that I kind of want to focus on, and I don't know if this is going to be it. You guys have probably been seeing the gameplay in the background, so a lot of you guys will be able to tell. But last night I live streamed some Path of Exile, which it's an interesting thing, because the first time that I decided to really give Path of Exile a chance, I was an arrogant buffoon idiot. And what did I do? I was like, dude, play hardcore on this bitch. I don't give a fuck. So I made a character and I died, I think it was on 3rd act or whatever. And then I made another character and I died around the same spot that I died with the first one. And that kind of burned me out real hard the first time that I gave it a chance. So this time I was like, no, forget this hardcore business. Let's just go in and go have some fun. And, you know, I played a bit of it last night, and I enjoyed it. And I'm probably going to be focusing on it a little bit. I believe that they have, like, a new expansion coming out or something in December. So it's a good time to kind of get back into it. Because, you know, in December, everybody will be starting from scratch with the new league and all of that stuff. And that is one of the things that, you know, that's the kind of the positive spin that I put at the end of this. Sure, there's been all of these things that I would consider to be bad to a lot of extents that have been very disappointing in a lot of other extents. But the light at the end of the tunnel is that I was like, well, I need to look for something else to play. And I started playing Path of Exile, and I was like, this looks like fun. So I'm probably going to be streaming that quite a bit. You guys can follow me on Twitch if you want to keep up with that. If you guys want to see content for Path of Exile in the channel, I might do a bit of that as well. We'll see how that turns out. The other thing that I wanted to get back into is Elite Dangerous, but that's going to be very hard to get back into in terms of a content perspective, so to speak. So we'll see how that pans out. all of that stuff. But for now, at least it's nice to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that there's still maybe hope for video games. Naturally, I will be following up with Sekiro once it comes out next year, and there's a couple more titles that I'm excited about. There's plenty of games that I'm excited about. There's just not that many games that I'm excited about that I can actually do content on. For instance, I would love to do a full playthrough of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, but I know that a majority of my audience is not interested in watching me play through that. And you guys are like, how do you know? Probably because I played the entirety of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and uploaded it onto YouTube and live streamed it on Twitch, and I bet you that 90 to 99% of you guys don't even know that I did that. There you go. That's a very good indicator. But still, you know, there's a lot of other things that I'm excited about, but just can't really work on them from a content perspective. Like, I'm really enjoying Pokemon Let's Go, for instance, to give you guys an idea. And some of you guys are like, Pokemon Let's Go? Isn't that getting review bombed? I saw a video about, I saw a thumbnail that said it was getting review bombed, and I was just like, really? Game looks fine to me. I don't know what the people are fucking talking about. But, yeah. Anyway, this is just a bit of a rant. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like. If you didn't, dislike it. Comment, feedback, all the kind of stuff. Always love reading through that comment section, which is why I do so many videos whenever I think that things are a little bit on the... things are a little bit unstable in the comment section, because I do like to, you know, keep reading that comment section because I enjoy interacting with you guys. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you the next one.